Hey everybody, it's your boy Devin's World and we're back again with another video. I know it's been a while, but today we're going to be reviewing To Call It Home, A Memory by Mackk. Artist, producer, musician, Mackk, or Everything Mackk as he's sometimes known, has just released his newest LP and it's called To Call It Home, A Memory. This LP is the second installment in Mack's catalog since I've been on the scene. However, he does have a lot of older albums. I just have not had the pleasure of listening to them just yet. But my thoughts on his previous album called Everything and More, generally positive. Really enjoy it. I do think that towards the end of that album, some of the songs do start to kind of blend together, but otherwise, very strong album. I really like a lot of the songs. One major difference between that album and this album that you're gonna find when you go to listen to this one is that Everything and More had a lot of very hard 808s, hard bass lines. Now to get back to Call It Home, A Memory, that's why you're here. This record is extremely well written and it follows a beautiful story and an internal dialogue about love and heartbreak. Mackk is telling us about his love that he has for an unnamed person on this record. However, a lot of the love throughout that album seems to go unrequited. In fact, there's actually a song on the album called Unrequited, so where do you think I got that interpretation from? But as a story, from beginning to end, the album speaks to the overwhelming desire to be enough for your partner, and Mackk addresses a lot of his shortcomings throughout the record, while also talking about a lot of the positives of the love that he has for this person. I will say it even seems like there's a very back and forth kind of, track to track. One song seems to be talking about the negatives, maybe the downsides, maybe the shortcomings that Mackk is feeling. And then the next song will then address a lot of the positives that he feels. A really great example of this is actually the placement of the two singles from this album that were released ahead of the album's release, called Something Real and Anywhere. Something Real appears as the second track on the list, and Anywhere is the third track. Now, Something Real comes first, obviously, and this song is a cry out to the person that Mackk loves. Mackk uses a line that actually speaks volumes thematically throughout the rest of the record. You'll find he says, "Would it kill you to feel how I feel?" And like I said, this is thematic throughout the entire process, the desire and want to be loved by this person. Mackk almost even seems entitled to the love based on this line. Would it kill you? Would it kill you? A lot of people say that when they're frustrated, they're fed up. So clearly Mackk is fed up with, not getting the love that he deserves or that he feels he deserves. But then on the next song, Anywhere, Mackk then details his desire to hold his love again. And in Something Real, Mackk is actually begging for the love to be reciprocated. But in Anywhere, Mackk is detailing more deeply into his feelings. Lines like, "You're an angel divine," speaking to how he truly feels about the person rather than asking them for the love to be returned. He's giving out the love himself. Some of the biggest, these songs are amazing. Biggest highlights of this record are You Got It and Breathe, which also, funnily enough, happen to go back to back and actually immediately follow Something Real and Anywhere. You Got It is a sad and somber tune about Mackk and his desire to fix things with the one that he loves. He wants to be there for the person, and he details about how he's willing to do anything that he can to support them. The production on this song specifically really made me feel something, and it's probably my favorite track from the record if I had to choose one. Then we follow that with Breathe. Breathe has these swaggy ass drums at the beginning of it. These drums hooked me in right away. I remember I was listening to this for the first time, walking my dog. These drums hit my ears. I'm like, whoa. I stopped for a second. I was like, whoa. That being said, this song is super easy on the ears. I mean, this song could have been a single, could have not been on an album. You Got It kind of feels like it needs to be on a record. It kind of feels like it fits into the story a little bit more. Breathe is more of an individual, like it feels like it could be a single. This song does kind of have an ironic feel to it. I think it was done intentionally. It has one of the most upbeat drum compositions on the entire record. However, the song is about a fight between Mackk and this person that he's been speaking to throughout the whole record. He even says in the song, "We both know that we are one and the same." Almost as if to say, well, if you're that, then I'm that too. Like if you're calling each other names, if she were to say to me, "Oh, you're a this or that," and I said, "Well, we're both one and the same," Mack's firing back. However, he's just not saying it in quite so many words. However, Mackk goes on to detail how he feels like he needs to bite his tongue, and rather than continuing the conflict, he's just going to keep it in and allow his partner to breathe. Hence the name. And he decides that he's going to concede the fight. Finally, the song ends with more swaggy drums, just like the beginning. It ends with these soloed out drums, but suddenly at the end of this song, when you're thinking about, well, this was an argument, these drums go from feeling like, oh, these are like drums to like a banger, these are drums to a vibey track. Then you start to feel like, well, maybe these drums are designed to make it feel kind of intense. Maybe these drums are designed to make you feel like there's a little bit of grittiness to this situation. I think it's really, really, really super well done from Mackk, because when you get roped in with these drums and you're like, wow, this is gonna be good, and then you start listening to the words, you're like, should I be feeling happy? Should I be feeling uncomfortable? You know, because he does really go into depth about this sort of fight that's going on here. And by the end, I'm a little bit more like, oh, well, these drums feel a little bit more intense than they do happy. Now, of course, I don't want to go into every song in depth. I want you guys to go listen to this record. But Tyrant is the next song on the album. Tyrant, though not titled an interlude, it's a very short song, and it has an interlude type feel. It's a very nice track. It has no drums on it. It's only about 1.5 minutes long. Kind of lets you breathe after the song Breathe, where there was about, you know, the intense interaction. This song kind of dials it back, strips everything back, very raw, allows you that 1.5 minutes to kind of collect your thoughts and move on to the rest of the record. At the end of the LP, the song Acceptance, Mackk details the coming to terms with everything that he's been going through, fighting throughout the entire record here, accepting, as per the name, whatever outcome is presented to him. Only When You're Near closes this record off in a suitable fashion, in my opinion, with a really nice guitar groove. And this is one last attempt from Mackk to try to end things on good terms with this person that he's been talking to the entire time. The feeling of if you love them, let them go is kind of the thing that washed over me. And honestly, it's very heartbreaking, especially when you listen to the whole record and you hear the internal dialogue of the entire thing. You can tell how much Mackk truly cares, yet he's having his heart ripped out of his chest by allowing this person to walk away. Overall, this record has extremely strong and consistent production and an amazing story. I mean, truly amazing story. Mackk allows you a real glimpse inside of his mind and inside of his life here. However, sort of like Mack's previous album, I do feel that towards the end of this record, we do start to see some repetitive flows. We do start to see some repetitive sounds. Though the album is extremely consistent, which I'm very happy with, because you want a record to be consistent. It's almost too consistent. It's almost too alike. I do think that, you know, the lyrics of each of these songs is unique, and I wouldn't want to remove any of them because of the story that all the dots connect throughout. However, in terms of instrumental and in terms of flow, at times I'm thinking, well, maybe I think a little bit more variety could have helped this record just a little bit. Nothing crazy, but maybe a different way to present something in a different way. Maybe because a lot of these songs are guitar melodies. I'm thinking maybe we have an elegant piano in there. Maybe a light synth type song. I don't know. Something that feels the same, that has the same feeling, that has the same emotion, that evokes the same thematic feelings for the listener. However, that doesn't sound quite as similar. That's the only way that I could have improved this record, because otherwise, I mean, this thing is great. I really enjoyed this record. I would listen to this record 100 times over, and I already have. I'm just kidding. I listened to it like 4 times, but this record's great, and I really do think that you guys should go check this thing out. I'm gonna leave a link to the record in the description. Check it on all platforms. I'm gonna give this record an 8.5 out of 10. That being said, if you did enjoy, please like, subscribe, share, comment. And if you have an EP or an album coming out, feel free to shoot me a message on Instagram. My Instagram will be in the description, or you can leave a comment here and I'll reach out to you. That being said, I really do hope you enjoyed, and I'll see you on the next video. Thanks.